Hi and welcome to another story, and today we have part 4 of Double Act by Jacqueline Wilson, continuing from chapter 9. It was so weird seeing so many twins. Ruby and I have seen identical twins before, obviously, but never hundreds of pairs. It was as if the whole world had split into two. I felt as if I was splitting too. We've always felt so different, unique, special. It's what made us. But standing there in that street, we were just part of the crowd, totally ordinary, with nothing at all to make us stand out. "Let's go back home," I said to Ruby. "Look at them all. We don't stand a chance." "Don't be ridiculous," said Ruby furiously. "I keep telling you, this is our big chance. We're not giving up now. We'll show them all. We'll act better than any of them." "But I can't act at all, Ruby." She just gave me this terrible look, took hold of my arm and marched me to the end of the very long queue. We passed big twins, little twins, pretty twins, plain twins, showy twins, shabby twins, girly twins, tomboy twins, even real boy twins. "They obviously haven't read the book," said Ruby dismissively, "unless they're going to put on frocks and wigs and play the parts in drag." "But look at some of the others. The ones with the big smiles and loud voices. I bet they've been to acting school," I said. "Well, so what? I've done my best to school you in acting. Now come on, let's go over our parts." "Not out here, in front of everyone," I said, agonised. "Look, you're the one who needs heaps of practice, not me," said Ruby. Then she pulled me close and muttered in my ear, "We'll just do it in whispers, okay? And I've been thinking, we'll have to inject a little oomph into our act to make us stand out in front of all these others. So, we'll still do the scene with the twins having a battle with Mademoiselle, but we'll act Mademoiselle too. Don't look so scared, I'll do her. I'm good at doing the French accent, mon chéri. Oh là là, très bon." But it turned out we didn't get a chance to do any of our act. We had to wait hours and hours in the queue, and I was desperate to go to the loo. So when we did eventually get inside the building, I had to walk around with my legs crossed, and we had to give our names and addresses and date of birth and school to this lady at a desk. And then we went upstairs, and I was scared I might really wet myself, and it would be the sheep situation all over again, only worse. But there were toilets along the corridor, and a big cloakroom where you were supposed to change, only we didn't have anything to change into, because we were wearing it. But Ruby pinched my cheeks to give me a bit more colour, and I tidied our hair, although my hands were trembling, so I could barely tie a knot. And then we got into another queue, waiting to get into the actual audition room. It got scarier and scarier, and I had to dash back to the loo once or twice, and even Ruby got a bit fidgety, and she kept staring around at all the other twins. They were rehearsing their routines, and they all seemed so brilliant that Ruby started to frown and bite her nails. "I didn't figure we might have to dance," she mumbled. "They don't do any dancing in the story, do they? Although maybe they're turning it into a musical version. So if we're asked, well, we'll sing. Not a pop song. They'll all do that. We could do My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean with hand gestures." "I'm not singing, especially not with gestures," I said. "You know we can't sing in tune, either of us." "Well, we could just sort of say the words with lots of expression," said Ruby relentlessly. "And if we have to dance, well, we'll just have to jump and jiggle a bit. Improvise. You copy me, okay?" This was so obviously not okay that I didn't even bother to protest. "We could work on a routine now, you know," said Ruby, hopping and skipping and kicking out one leg. She kicked a little too enthusiastically, and there was an argument with the twins in front of us. They were dressed up in wonderfully old-fashioned school uniform, gym slips and baggy blouses, and lisle stockings and strappy shoes. One of the lisle stockings had a little ladder now where it had connected with Ruby's kick, and the mother of the laddered lisle was very cross indeed. "Look, it was an accident. Anyway, it just adds to her general schoolgirl authenticity," said Ruby, pronouncing this big word with pride. The mother didn't seem convinced, and the schoolgirl twins were still getting all shirty too. But then they were called into the audition room, so they rushed off in a fluster. "Us next," said Ruby. She took hold of me by the shoulders. "We're going to be great, Garnet. Better than any of these dopey, stupid, showy-offy lot. You and me, Ruby and Garnet. We'll act it all out, and it won't be scary at all. It'll be just like us playing in private at home. Trust me." I tried, and then it was our turn, and it wasn't at all like playing in private. We were shown to this stage, and there were lots of people watching us, and a camera filming us, and I was so frightened I nearly fell over. Ruby grabbed me by the hand and hissed, "Twin grin," and marched us into the middle of the stage. "Hi, twins," said the woman with short hair and a smock. "Hi there," said Ruby, imitating her voice, trying to sound all cool and casual, though I could see little beads of sweat on her forehead. She nudged me, and I squeaked, "Hi," too. "We've got our audition piece all prepared," Ruby said brightly, trying to show them we were dead professional. "I'm Pat, and she's Isabel, and I'm also Mademoiselle, and at the end I'm Janet as well." They all laughed, for some reason. I blushed, because I was scared they thought Ruby was silly, but Ruby didn't seem to mind. She laughed too. We'd love to see your little number sometime, twins, but right now we just want to test out your voices, said the woman with the short hair. So, twin number 1, tell me what you had to eat yesterday. Ruby blinked at her, but then she threw back her hair, put her hand on one hip and got started. Okay, you want to know what I had to eat yesterday? Well, breakfast was boring old muesli again. Garnet and I used to have Cocoa Pops and jam sandwiches, and they were yummy. But now we have this awful woman living with us, our dad's girlfriend, and she's into health foods, so it's bye-bye Cocoa Pops, hello muesli. All this oat and bran that makes your face ache munching. And then there are these little raisins like rabbit droppings, yuck. They were all laughing again, but this time even I could see that this was good. They loved Ruby. Right now, twin 2, tell us what you had for lunch, said the woman with short hair. They stopped looking at Ruby. They looked at me, and Ruby looked at me too, desperately, terrified I was going to let us down. I tried to pretend to myself that I wasn't shy, stupid, scaredy cat Garnet. I made out I was Ruby. I threw back my hair, I put my hand on my hip, I opened my mouth to start. I had it all worked out, what I was going to do. I was going to tell about Rose's garlic crumble and how it not only tasted absolutely disgusting, but people ducked and dodged for days afterwards whenever we breathed in their direction, and we'd worn out 6 toothbrushes, already trying to take the taste away. I could be funny too if I really tried. I could be just as good as Ruby. I could. But then someone came bursting through the door and stood there staring. Dad. And I couldn't. I simply couldn't. He didn't say anything to stop me, but he didn't need to. I couldn't get started, not in front of him. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. I tried to speak, but I couldn't even squeak. Come on, Garnet, said Ruby. I gulped. I opened my mouth. I tried, but all I managed was a goldfish impersonation. Look, I'll say what we had for lunch, said Ruby. No, sweetie, we've already heard you. We want your twin to talk now. Let's skip lunch, and tea and supper. What time did you go to bed, twin 2? I saw Ruby flash her eyes at me. I knew she was willing me to tell a funny story about our bed-delaying tactics, our constant unnecessary trips to the bathroom, our midnight raids on the fridge, our frequent nocturnal ramblings, all deliberately done to unnerve Dad and Rose so that they could never totally relax into unwedded bliss. I could tell it, but not in front of Dad. So, after several centuries had gone by and I actually saw the short-haired woman glance at her watch, I started a stupid mumble about, well, we're supposed to start getting ready for bed at 9, 10 at weekends, but we often try to stay up. My voice was this sad, expressionless little squeak. I saw Ruby close her eyes in agony. I saw Dad hang his head. I saw the short-haired woman and all her colleagues shaking their heads. I saw it all, and I shrank down to mouse size to match my squeak. Thank you, sweetie. Off you go, twins. Next, said the short-haired woman. She was already staring past us, smiling at the new set of twins. No, hang on a minute, said Ruby. Look, my sister isn't very well. She's been sick. She's not normally like this. She can speak up and be ever so funny. I swear she can. How about if we just do a couple of minutes for our prepared piece? Give us a chance. We've used up all our savings to get here, and we're going to get in terrible trouble with our dad when we get back. Yes, it's a shame, sweetie, but we don't really have the time, said the short-haired woman, and she put her arm around both of us. It wasn't just sympathy. She propelled us gently but firmly to the edge of the stage. Even in the midst of her despair, Ruby remembered the camera, twisting around and grimacing in agony, and then she sighed and waved her hand. I could hear a few chuckles. That kid's a caution, said someone. Yeah, pity about her twin. It was only a murmur, but it was like a giant roaring in my ears. It wouldn't soften or stop. I couldn't seem to hear properly, even when Dad caught up with us. You bet you're in terrible trouble, he said furiously. How dare you run off here like this, when I expressly forbade it? I couldn't believe it when we woke up and found you both gone. I was so worried I was going to call the police, but Rose insisted you'd both be all right, and that you'd obviously gone for this idiotic audition. Well, it was a complete waste of time anyway, said Ruby. You really blew it for us, Dad. We were doing just great, and then you had to come barging in and put us off on our stroke. Put me off? Not you, I said, and it wasn't Dad's fault. He waited, he gave us a chance. But I mucked it up. That's what they said. You were great, Ruby, yeah, but I was useless. They said so. No, they didn't, said Ruby. And anyway, they didn't give you a proper chance. It wasn't fair. You don't want to be an actress anyway, Garnet, said Dad. And even if you'd both been offered the parts, I wouldn't have let you take them. Ruby can act when she grows up, but I don't want my girls turning into ghastly little child stars. Thank you very much. There's no chance of me being any sort of star, I said, and I started crying. I couldn't bear it. They were both so sorry for me. Dad was still mega mad because we'd sneaked off up to London by ourselves, but he was holding back his anger for a bit to try to comfort me. And Ruby wasn't cross with me. She should hate me forever because I did muck it up. I should have said all that stuff and never mind about Dad being there. I could have done. Only I didn't. I let her down. I'll always let her down. She's the biggest and the brightest and the best. She's the caution. She's the star. It's a pity she stuck with me. Pity about the twin. Pity about the twin. Pity about the twin. Chapter 10. What's all this pity piffle? Please, Garnet. And anyway, I did get cross with you. I had a real go at you in the car because you were a bit of a wally in the audition. What did it matter if Dad was there or not? You could have made something up if you didn't want to do a rant at Rose. I mean, I wouldn't go on at you if I truly thought you couldn't do it, but you can. Well, you could have. Only it's too late now. We've blown it. Lost our chance. We don't get to be famous child stars. We're drab child nobodies stuck in this dreary dump forever and ever. And we've lost all our savings for nothing. Not to mention my baby doll that Gran gave me. Garnet, oh, don't start crying again. Look, I'm the one who should be crying. I'm the one who wants to act. I'm the one that Dad is maddest at. The way he went on and on at me. And then when I argued back and told him he was an old worry guts and that we were both big enough to look after ourselves and what possible harm could happen on a simple trip to London, I thought he was actually going to clock me one. He hasn't ever smacked us, has he? I wish he would. Then we could show the bruises at school and get taken into care. I mean it. I'm sick of living here with him and her. Hey, let's write to Gran and see if she could possibly squeeze us into her flat. We could sleep curled up on her settee, couldn't we? And she keeps saying how much she misses us on her postcards. Then we could go back to our old school. We're not going to this stupid new school again, especially now that Dumbo Debenham's told tales on us. We're not going even if Dad picks us up and tries to drag us there. We're not speaking to him, right? And we're certainly not speaking to Rose. Who cares if she came out with all that guff about us being ultra-determined and clever getting ourselves to London? We didn't ask her to stick up for us, did we? Garnet, look, what does it matter what she's shouting? We don't want to go and watch television with her. Who cares if it was us? Well, only a glimpse, but they showed me doing my goodbye bit. The camera came right up close. They didn't show much of Garnet, just a bit of her hair and an elbow, but they showed all of me, and there was a voiceover saying, and this twin certainly took rejection like a trooper. Pity they didn't say our names. Still, we were on the telly. Well, I was. It was on the news. We missed the first part, but Rose videoed it. They did a whole little item about the audition for the twins at St Clair's series as a clever early puff for the programme, seeing as it's going to be made by the same telly company. They showed some of those other twins doing their party pieces. They weren't as good as us. Well, me, of course. That's only my opinion. The twins that they've chosen are absolutely awful. That's the way they talk too. Ooh, absolutely jolly, good show, frightfully, jolly super duper, green welly wallies. Perhaps it's just as well we weren't chosen. If they'd got us to talk all twiddly, snooty pop like that, then we'd have been sent up rotten forever in a day. Kids won't want to watch a pathetic programme like that, or if they do, they'll just laugh at it. Still, it looks like they're pulling out all the stops on the production. It's been filmed on location in the real big boarding school during the summer holidays. They showed all the grounds. It was just like a stately home. And there was a swimming pool and a sort of miniature zoo where they keep their pets. And inside this huge great house, it wasn't a bit like a school. There were ordinary, boring old classrooms, but they had playrooms with television and videos and music centres and computers. And upstairs, there weren't dormitories like I thought. They had lots of bedrooms with flowery duvets and teddies on the beds and posters up the walls. And best of all, this school has its own theatre. It's quite small, okay, but it's got a real stage with red velvet curtains and lighting and props and everything. And they put on plays. I wish we could go to a school like that. Hey, wow, yes, no. Oh, Garnet, come on. It would be absolutely fantastic. Oh, let's go there. We wouldn't be acting. We'd be the real twins of St Clair's. Well, Marnock Heights. It would be such fun. We could play all those posh games, hockey and lacrosse and cricket in the summer. I bet I'd be absolutely ace at cricket. And we could have a pet each in the little zoo place. Twin pets. Rabbits. Those little ones with shy faces, dwarf rabbits. OK, twin baby bunnies, though I'd sooner have gerbils or rats. I don't like rats or gerbils. I don't even like mice. Right, we're agreed it's rabbits. We'll go and play with our rabbits every day, and we'll have a game of cricket, and we'll swim in the pool, and in the evenings we'll watch videos in the sitting room, and then, after we've gone to bed, we'll have mega midnight feasts. This is a game, isn't it? No, it can be real. We're going to go to boarding school. Yes, it's a school, so there'll be lessons all day. We can't just muck about stroking our rabbits and playing games. There'll be English and history and technology, and hard stuff too, like geometry and Latin. That's okay. You'll be able to do that. And did you see that library and the telly clip? All those wonderful books, Garnet. We've got books here. Oh, boring books. We hate this bookshop. We hate this school and this whole horrible dump of a village. So, we're going to get out. We're going to go to boarding school, Marnock Heights. We'll write a letter applying. You'd better do it, Garnet. Your writing's much neater than mine. I'll tell you what to put. But I don't want to. I'm sick of you going on about what you want and don't want. Look, I wanted to be one of the twins of St. Clair's on the television. I planned and plotted so that we could go all the way to London by ourselves. I sold all my stuff. I did my audition thingy so well that they all laughed, and they really liked me, and it looked like we'd actually get the part, didn't it? But then you mucked it up. Yes. There's no need to look like that. I'm not being deliberately horrid. I'm just trying to get you to understand that it would be ultra, ultra, ultra mean of you to muck up my chances of getting what I want second best in the world, right? The Red Bookshop, High Street, Cussup, 19th of May. Dear Madam, we are sorry we don't know your name. We are 10-year-old identical twins, nearly 11, and we hate our school in this village. We don't fit in, the lessons are boring, and there aren't any proper books, and the only games we play are rounders. We went to the television audition for the twins at St. Clair's. We very nearly got the part, actually. We were featured in the television coverage. Well, one of us was. And you were featured too, and your wonderful school, and we thought, ooh, this is our idea of heaven. The stage and the swimming pool and the games and the animals and all that. So, please can we come to your school in September? We promise to be good pupils, and you don't have to worry about us being homesick, because we hate our home. Yours faithfully, Ruby Barker, Garnet Barker. P.S. Please say yes. You won't regret it, honestly. Look at this. Marnock Heights, boarding school for girls. We went rushing to tell Dad. We thought he'd be in a good mood because some nutty old girl had bought all his girls' own annuals for a lot of money, and as she staggered backwards and forwards to her car with book after book, she kept burbling. Those were the days, eh, when girls were really girls. A hard game of hockey and then toasted tea cakes in front of the fire. She sighed happily, and then saw Garnet and me hanging around. Only nowadays it's all disco dancing McDonald's beef burgers, she said. That's what you want, isn't it, girls? Oh, no, I said quickly. Garnet and me, we'd like to play hockey and toast tea cakes. That's just what we want too. Well, good for you, said the old girl, lurching out of the shop with the last of her annuals. What's all this about, said Dad, blinking at us, but he looked pleased. We've had a policy of being rude to the customers recently, and that's made him extremely narked. I looked at Garnet. She looked at me. I took a deep breath. We're not kidding, Dad. We read all the St. Clair's books, see? When we were wanting to act in the telly series, and we think it all sounds really great, so Garnet and I want to go to boarding school. Dad laughed, not taking us seriously. It's not really like it is in the books, said Dad. I don't think either of you would go a bundle on real boarding school. You have to work hard and do as you're told all the time. According to poor Miss Debenham, you don't do any work at all and never ever do as you're told. Yes, but that's because she's a silly teacher and it's a silly school. But if we went to a super top-notch boarding school, then we'd be mega good. Really, truly, a boarding school like Marnock Heights. Like where? It's the place they're using for the St. Clair's film. It's a real school. And so Garnet and I wrote to the headmistress asking to go there, and she sent us this booklet all about it. Look. I ran to fetch it and shoved it under Dad's nose. Oh, for goodness sake, will you girls stop doing things behind my back? Dad groaned. Say we can go though, Dad. Please. You look at all the pictures. It's lovely, isn't it? Oh, very lovely, said Dad, flicking through. Then he stopped at the back page, where there were 2 pieces of paper stuck into a little pocket. And very lovely school fees too. 8,000 a year each. Oh yes, nice one, Ruby. I stared at him and then snatched the paper. There were all these figures on it, the fees. I didn't realise you had to pay to go to some schools. You had to pay an enormous, enormous, enormous fee to go to Marnock Heights. Oh no, I wailed. Oh no, Garnet wailed too. But she didn't sound too fussed. In actual fact, right, Garnet, well, we've got to think positive, because all is not lost. Maybe Dad won't have to fork out any fees. Not that he found it, could anyway. We're far too poor. But there was a letter tucked into the pocket of the prospectus, along with a note about the frightful fees. Marnock Heights, Gorsley, Sussex, 22nd of May. Dear Ruby and Garnet, what lovely names. You wrote me a lovely letter too. I'm pleased that you'd like to attend Marnock Heights. Here is the current prospectus. Show it to your parents or guardians. I'd like to point out that we do award several special scholarships each year. These have already been awarded for the new intake in the autumn, but one girl is now unable to take up her scholarship because she's going abroad. Perhaps you would like to come to the school and sit the entrance examination to see if either of you might pass highly enough for scholarship consideration. Please telephone my secretary for an appointment. With best wishes, yours sincerely, Miss Jeffries, head teacher. There, you know my name now. And that is where we will leave part 4 of Double Act by Jacqueline Wilson. I'll be back soon with the next part of this fantastic story and lots more stories and videos coming your way very soon. If you'd like to subscribe or hit a like, that's always appreciated. Thanks for listening, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.